Alright, what's up, familia? Welcome inside the Big Rig. Hope you guys are doing good. Keep in between the lines. Got your load secure. Alright, let's get into a scary trucker story.
It was September 2015, and all I could think of while driving my truck on a remote stretch in rural Montana was how long it had been since I last took a shower.
Rural Montana.
My dispatch orders took me on a route that passed a dense forest that seemed to go on forever. The road...
Alright, I've never been to Montana. It's a state that I do want to go to. I hear a lot of great things about Montana, and he was talking about showering. Yeah, when you're out there on the road, man, OTR, you don't shower every day. So
felt desolate, and I had been alone on the road for hours. So when I decided to pull over for a quick restroom break at one of those less frequented rest stops, I thought nothing of it. Little did I know that this decision would change my life.
Rest stops could be
I'm
sketchy.
Stanley Davenport, by the way, just an ordinary truck driver making deliveries across the country. The job can be pretty unglamorous at times like these, but it pays the bills and lets me see different parts of America. I parked my truck and headed to the restroom, hoping for some privacy in this isolated area. As I entered the facility, the smell hit me, a mixture of ammonia and something sweet and rotten that bothered me deep in my stomach. It smelled out of place here amongst the scent of the trees and fresh air. But nature called, and I continued toward the stalls. As I washed my hands afterward, I heard something outside that sounded like muffled sobbing. Concerned someone might be hurt, I stepped outside cautiously to investigate.
Alright, rest areas can be sketchy, man. Especially, you know, in certain times of the day. Well, I would say nighttime, super early morning, like around this time. Rest areas can be pretty damn sketchy, homes.
Peering around the corner of the building, I saw her, a young woman about 20 years old with tear-filled eyes. Her blonde hair hung around her face like strings soaked in blood. She was kneeling next to a man who lay motionless on the ground.
Oh.
It was apparent immediately that he'd suffered fatal wounds. "Hey," I shouted hesitantly, breaking their conversation's desperate whispering. "Do you need any help?" She looked up at me with terror in her eyes and nodded ever so slightly. I rushed towards her just as she screamed in sheer panic, looking beyond me. I barely had time to register what was happening when a colossal figure appeared from behind my truck, wielding a long, blood-caked blade. I barely managed to dodge the blow as the blade came swinging down with unstoppable force.
Oh, damn.
It was then that I saw his face. The man seemed to be in his late 40s. His features disfigured by countless scars, and his skin was a sickly pale yellow hue. The menacing figure towered over me by at least 2 feet. His forearms were the size of tree trunks, veins bulging with every movement. "Run!" I yelled at the young woman as I scrambled back from my assailant. He swung the blade again, intending to finish me off, but this time I managed to catch him off guard by throwing a rock at his face.
Okay.
"Get away!" I screamed at her, continuing to dodge his relentless attacks. With each movement, I focused on staying alive while also making sure she had enough time to escape toward my truck. Just when it seemed like we put enough distance between us and the monstrous man, all progress halted as he stomped on the fallen girl's leg, breaking it instantly. She screamed in agony and tried to crawl away, tears streaming down her face. I knew I needed to act fast or both our lives would end here.
Wait. I thought you guys broke away from him and there was enough distance between you guys, but he was able to stomp on her leg and break her leg? Alright.
Please, she begged through her sobs. Help me. I knew there was no time to waste. Ignoring the pain in my limbs from dodging the attacks, I grabbed a nearby crowbar that had fallen from my truck during the commotion. Listen! I yelled to the young woman as she continued her futile attempts to crawl away. I need you to make your way to my truck. Grab anything that can help us against this guy. With a shaky nod, she began crawling again, ignoring the pain radiating from her shattered leg. Meanwhile, I kept my focus on the monstrous man and his dreadful blade. I'm going to lead him away from you, I shouted at her, making sure.
And the dude with the blade, can you not hear him saying this? I mean, how far away is this guy if he was able to stomp and break her leg? And if he's by his truck that he's able to grab a crowbar, how far is she away from the truck? And where's the dude with the blade when all this is going on? I know it sounds, when he's saying it, it sounds like it's taking about, half a minute or something, but it could be going on like this, It's just him explaining the story.
She understood the plan. Knowing that waiting wasn't an option, I threw another rock at the man's face to buy some time. As he reeled back in anger, I sprinted in the opposite direction, hoping he would follow. Luckily for both of us, he did. As I ran further away from my truck and the injured girl, my mind raced with possible escape plans and backup plans if things went wrong. I considered calling for help, but quickly realized doing so would give away my location to the man pursuing me. I found myself at a construction site and hastily searched for something that could be used as a weapon or distraction, anything that might save our lives. Moments later, I spotted a container of gasoline near a generator. An idea sparked in my mind. After kicking the gasoline container over and spilling its contents across the ground, I sprinted back towards where I'd left the young woman and hoped that she'd managed to find something useful in my truck. As expected, when I reached her side once more, it was apparent she had been busy while the monstrous man chased me. She had managed to pull out a flare gun, something that might just tip this dire situation in our favor. In perfect timing, our attacker returned to finish what he'd started. Desperate, I grabbed the flare gun from the woman's hand and aimed it at the approaching behemoth. Back off! I warned her, to no avail. The man was relentless. So, I pulled the trigger without hesitation, sending a fiery blast directly toward him. The flare struck his face, engulfing him in an unbearable blaze. His agonized screams resonated through the air as he thrashed about, blinded and seriously injured by the roaring fire now consuming his own flesh. He stumbled backward and fell onto the trail of gasoline I had left earlier, causing the fire to spread further, intensifying its wrath and engulfing him entirely. It wasn't long before what remained of our attacker was nothing but a burned husk, lifeless and unrecognizable. With relief flooding my veins, I turned to the young woman, who was now clutching her broken leg in agony. We needed emergency assistance, fast. Only then did I dare pull out my phone to call for help. Paramedics arrived within minutes and tended to both our injuries before transporting us to a nearby hospital. During our recovery period, we spoke little of that traumatic event, both aware that such a nightmare was better left buried in the past. The one thing I knew for sure was that we, and all others likely targeted by this ruthless killer, could now breathe easier knowing that this monstrous man would never harm anyone ever again. And Neither of us emerged from this ordeal unscathed physically or emotionally. We both took some small comfort knowing that we were survivors, and that we'd come out on the other side stronger than ever before.
Yeah, I don't know, dog. This story doesn't really add up to me, Holmes. The fact that it's just everything. It's like, hey, I'm gonna lead him away from you. You're yelling that to the girl. Where's the dude with the blade? Where's the attacker? He can't hear you say that. He can't hear your plan. And then you ran away. He followed you. You found yourself in a construction site. Okay. You kick a container. You're thinking about calling for help, but no, because it would give your position away. So then he doesn't know where you're at. So he's looking for you. You kick a container of gasoline over at the construction site, and then you make your way back to your truck. Homegirl is there with a flare gun. The attacker, Vato, comes at you. You shoot him in the face. And then what? He stumbles that far back to the construction site where you kicked over the gasoline and he catches on fire. I don't know, man. I don't know. This one seemed a little odd for me. But I will tell you guys this. Rest stops, just like I said earlier, rest stops, homie, can be some very sketchy places, especially certain times of the night, early morning. Definitely, man. You could run into some very, very odd characters at rest stops, you know, certain times of the day, so certain times of the night or morning, I should say. But I'll leave you guys right there, man. As always, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings. Always keep it safe. This is Blood. Make sure you live below. Take care. Until next time, this is the Total Trucker.